My name's Josh Wilson, and I've never been the kind of guy to scare easily. Growing up, I was always the one who stayed calm during horror movies, always the one who laughed when my friends jumped at jump scares. But something happened to me recently, something I can't explain. It's not the kind of thing you just brush off as a glitch or some weird coincidence. No, this was real, and to this day I can't shake it. It started on a Friday night after work. I'm a software tester for this small tech company, so my day-to-day life isn't all that exciting. I live in a small apartment, pretty basic setup, just a desk with my gaming rig, a couch, TV, you know, the usual. Anyway, I had no plans that night, and after a long week, I just wanted to relax and play some games. I'd recently bought this game called. It's one of those indie survival horror games that had gotten some decent reviews online. People were saying it was really immersive, which is something I look for in a good horror game, so I thought, why not? Now, I'm not new to horror games. I've played through, you name it. But something about it was different from the start. It wasn't about jump scares or grotesque monsters. No, it was subtle. The game was set in this rundown apartment building, kind of like the one I live in, which honestly just added to the eeriness. The premise was simple. You're a journalist investigating strange occurrences in the building, trying to piece together what happened to the people who lived there. It felt too close to home, so I started playing, just a casual session to kill a few hours. Everything seemed normal at first, slow pacing, lots of exploration, finding notes and items. The lighting was dim, the atmosphere heavy with tension, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then, something strange happened. I was in-game, wandering around the apartment building's basement when I heard a soft knock. Not in the game, in real life. At first, I thought it was just part of the game's sound design, trying to mess with my head, you know? But it sounded too real, like it was coming from my actual front door. I took off my headset and sat there for a second, listening. Nothing. Silence. I wasn't expecting anyone. It was already past 11 p.m., and none of my friends ever dropped by unannounced. So I got up and walked to the door, peeking through the peephole. But there was no one there. Weird, but I figured it was just my neighbors messing around in the hallway, or maybe someone knocked on the wrong door. I went back to my desk, put my headset on, and kept playing. The game was getting more intense now. My character had started seeing strange things, a figure in the distance, flickers of movement in the shadows, but it was all happening in the game world. Nothing supernatural, just creepy. But then it happened again. Another knock, this time louder. I paused the game, feeling a chill run down my spine. This wasn't right. I live on the third floor of a pretty quiet building, and the hallway outside my apartment rarely gets any foot traffic, especially at that hour. I slowly got up, walked back to the door, and checked the peephole again. Still, no one there. I stood there for a minute, my heart beating faster than I'd like to admit. I opened the door just a crack, peeking out into the hallway. It was empty. Now at this point, I was starting to feel on edge. I'm not the paranoid type, but something about this didn't sit right with me. I shut the door, locked it, and went back to my desk, trying to shake it off. I figured maybe it was just some late-night delivery mix-up and I was overthinking things. But then, the game glitched. The screen flickered, just for a split second, and my character was suddenly standing in front of an apartment door that looked exactly like mine. The same dull brown paint, the same scuffed-up number. At first, I didn't think much of it. Indie games like this sometimes use real-world references for textures or models. Maybe the developers had based the design on a stock photo, or maybe it was just a coincidence. But then my character heard a knock. 3 sharp knocks, just like the ones I'd heard earlier. I sat there staring at the screen, feeling my stomach tighten. Was this some sort of ARG? I'd heard of games that mess with players by using real-world elements, but wasn't advertised like that. I tried to pause the game, but the menu wouldn't come up. The knocks in the game repeated, louder this time, and my character automatically moved toward the door, like I wasn't even controlling him. My heart was pounding in my chest now. I didn't know what to do. Should I keep playing? Was someone messing with me? Suddenly, the game froze, and a message appeared on the screen. Open the door. I sat there, staring at the words, feeling my palms sweat. There was no way this was just part of the game. Someone had to be screwing with me. But how? I hadn't given anyone access to my system. No one even knew I was playing. I took off my headset, trying to calm myself down. I checked the door again, locked. Everything was fine, just a game. I told myself it was just a game, even though my instincts were screaming otherwise. But then, from behind me, I heard a noise. A soft, deliberate knock, right on the wall next to where I was sitting. I froze. My apartment is small, but the only wall next to me is the one that separates my unit from the next apartment. My neighbor, Lisa, had been out of town for weeks. There was no one next door. I slowly turned, half expecting to see something or someone standing there. But of course, there was nothing, just the blank wall. I stood up, backed away from my desk, and for the first time in years, I felt real fear creeping in. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at the wall, waiting for something else to happen. But nothing did. No more knocks, no more glitches in the game. Just silence. The air felt heavy, like something was watching me, waiting for me to make a move. I didn't sleep that night. I ended up shutting down my computer, unplugging it, and sitting on the couch with the TV on, the volume low, just listening for any sound that wasn't supposed to be there. I haven't touched since. I tried looking it up online, trying to see if anyone else had experienced the same thing, but there's nothing. No mention of glitches like the ones I encountered, no reports of anything weird happening to other players. Part of me wants to believe it was all in my head. Maybe I was just overtired, letting my imagination get the best of me. But then I remember those knocks, the ones outside my door, the ones in the game, and the ones behind me. I'm not saying I know what happened that night, I don't. But I do know one thing. Some games blur the line between fiction and reality a little too well.